So before I jump into this, I'm gonna begin this just like I've begun the last two lectures. What are the three useful ways of writing straight line equations, Jan?
There's the y equals mx plus b.
Okay, y equals mx plus b. Does anybody remember what that's called? What is this?
Oh.
Jan?
What? That is the rise of the slope.
The slope, what is that?
The y-intercept.
Okay, so that's called the slope intercept method.
And the next
Right?
one, I think, is, I know the equation again. It's like ay plus bx equals c.
Ax plus by equals c, right? And that is x and y are, what's it called?
That's the standard.
The standard form, because x and y are standing on the same side of the equal sign, right?
Yep.
So that's called the standard form,
Oh.
And then
right?
the points.
And the last one is point slope, right?
Yeah.
Point-
And it has a scary equation, but it's not really
y to the one little thing under the y equals m parentheses x and then the x is the little one thing.
Right, very nice, very nice. So those are the forms of equations you're going to see again and again and again from me all year long, right? So you want to memorize it. You want to be able to see, oh, yes, that's in standard form. Oh, yes, I remember, Logan, in standard form, what do I do? To graph it, what do I do? In standard form. Standard form. I find the x and y intercepts. Right! Good job, exactly. Right? And if it's in slope intercept form, I know to plot the intercept and then use rise over run, right? Now, today we're going to talk about point slope form, right? And again, we're going to talk about the shortcut method. If you forget the shortcut method, what method can you always use, Rosemary?
Teacher.
The T-chart, right? T-charts work for anything, right? So you can totally use that if you get lost. But we're going to work on the point slope formula today. So point slope formula is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. All right, so now let's just talk about this equation for a second. Your slope, I'll do it over here. Your slope is your m, right? Your mountain slope, right? Just like in y equals mx plus b. That m is your slope. So it's the number in front of the parentheses, right? Now your point, though, your point is x sub 1, comma, y sub 1. Okay? So, Rico, can you sit here, buddy? You're just talking too much. You two are talking too much. Rico, just move back. Rico, just move right
Rico
back.
was writing.
What?
Rico was
No, he wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
All right, I'll give you one more chance, okay? But if you talk to him, he gets in trouble. He moves, right? Just so you know. So try not to, okay? During my lecture, I want you focused, right?
Yeah.
I want this stuff in your notes. It's really important. Okay? So your point is x sub 1, comma, y sub 1. Meaning it's this, comma, this, right? You with me? So, if I asked you to write an equation, so let's say this. Write an equation. This won't be on the homework, but, well, it might, I can't remember. Write an equation of a line that passes through, I'll just use a short through. I know I'm spelling it wrong, but I'm a math teacher, it's okay. That passes through 2, comma 6, and has a slope of 2/3. Okay? I'll give you a second to write that down. Write an equation of a line that passes through 2, comma 6 and has a slope of 2/3. Well, this, since my point is x1, comma y1, right? this is my x1 right here, my x sub 1. And this is my y sub 1 right there. You with me? You all see that?
Yeah.
So how would I write the equation? Somebody. Luke. Well, I'm not talking about graphing right now. This is the equation, right? I'm going to keep the y and the x the way it is. But I'm going to replace the m and the x sub 1 and the y sub 1. So Luke, help me.
So you do y minus 6
Yes?
equals 2/3 times x minus 2.
Exactly. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Right? I just replaced this, and this with the slope 2/3, 2, and 6, right? Right? Pretty straightforward. You see that? Now, every time I give you an equation in point-slope form, it has a slope in it. So I can immediately tell you what the slope is by looking at this equation, and I can immediately tell you what the point is by looking at this equation. Look at this equation. What's the, without looking at this now, what is the point? It is this, it is the opposite of this, comma, the opposite of this.
So it's 2 comma x.
It is not negative 2, it is positive 2, comma, not negative 6, it's positive 6. That's interesting.
Is that
Why?
the subword?
Why? Look at the equation. Look at the formula.
Subword.
Notice that there is a minus sign in the formula, right? So when the x sub 1 is positive 2, it looks like negative 2 because the formula has a negative sign in it. Does that make sense? So whenever you try to find the point, it's the opposite of this far right one, comma, the opposite of this one. So let's try one. Y plus 3 is equal to 1/2 x minus 7. Okay, what is the point? It's the opposite of this, comma, the opposite of this. So, Sienna, what would be?
7.
7?
Comma, negative 3.
Yes, exactly. Does that make sense?
Oh,
See that? So that's awesome that you're starting to see that. Let's try another one. Y plus 8 is equal to 2 times x plus 3. Okay, Dan.
It would be negative 3,
Negative 3.
comma,
What?
negative 8.
Negative 8? Is that
Oh,
what
wait,
you
no.
said?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Okay. All right, Jaden. X minus 9 equals 2 times x minus 6.
6, comma, 9.
Yes, it would be 6, comma 9. Right? So immediately, this is a huge time saver. Huge time saver. If in high school, they're going to ask you in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. Well, in Algebra 2, because most of you will probably pass out of Algebra 1. Not all of you, but most of you, right? And all of you could, is what I'm saying, but some of you might choose not to, but that's okay. If they ask you to write an equation with a slope and a given point of a line that goes through a certain point, you can always use point-slope form, right? Now, they might ask you to write it in a different format. They might ask you to write it in y equals mx plus b format, but then you would just convert this to y equals mx plus b. We'll talk about that later. I'll explain that another time. But the main thing is understanding how to find the point in a point-slope form, right? Does everybody see it? Fist of 5. Everybody sees it. I just want to be sure. Everybody sees the point in it. Okay. Awesome.
4 and
All right.
What kind of 4?
I see the point. Yeah.
It's the process, the whole thing overall is still slightly confusing, but
Yeah.
It is. It is. And this is the formula that scares people. In all honesty. And I know a lot of Algebra 1 teachers don't teach this formula. And I don't know why. It's a really useful formula. And it's really awesome. So the cool thing is, graphing with this formula is almost as easy as graphing slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b. It's easier than standard form with finding the x and y intercepts. It's like literally 4 to 5 seconds. You can do it. So let's talk about graphing. And let's say I said graph this. Y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 x plus 2. All right, what is the point? Somebody different, somebody totally different. Lucas.
Would it be -2, 5?
So the point is -2 comma 5, right? Does everybody agree? Okay, so if I graph this, I'm going to go to -2 comma 5,
Down.
right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then,
All down, up,
Okay.
okay, so I'm going to plot this point.
that way.
So what do? I go over here to -2 and I put a dot, right?
Yeah?
No, you go
No,
up
no, no,
5.
you go up 5.
Oh, I don't put a dot at -2, do I?
You go up 5.
Oh, this is a map, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the left 2 and I go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So left 2, up 5. Somewhere around there, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go up.
So that is on the line. So anywhere on the line, if I use my slope, I can get to the next point on the line. And my slope is rise over run. Rise 2, run 3. So I'm going to
Okay,
rise
whoa.
2,
Oh.
and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put a dot.
Oh.
And I'm going to rise 2, and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put a dot. And I draw my line.
Wait, what was
And that's how you graph the point slope form?
Right?
Okay.
That makes sense?
That makes a lot more sense.
So the difference, think about it.
That's a better realization.
If I asked you to graph,
Okay. No, not whatever. You go to and then go up 5 and then put it out there. And then you see that thing with the 2 over there.
so once again, when I give you something in point slope form, you figure out your point. The opposite of this, comma the opposite of that. So -2, +5. And then you go to that point on your graph, -2, up 5, put a dot. And from that dot, you rise
And then you go
2
to
and
your
run
front.
3, right? You
Okay.
use your slope to get to the next point, right? So it's really almost identical to graphing this, right? You see the difference? This is already a point. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
So in some ways, you could say, well, this is point slope because they gave you a point. It's just they didn't give you all the coordinates, right? They didn't say it was 0, 3. It is 0, 3, but it just says 3. And we learned you just go up to 3 and then you do the slope, right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Much
All right.
more sense.
All right, so let's just try a few.
Okay.
Let's try a few. Be sure we're all on the same wavelength. Okay? All right, how about this? Y plus 1 is equal to 1/2 x minus 4. Okay. All right. Gardner, raise your hand for a second. Okay, Gardner, do it.
So, first it would be 4, -1.
4, comma, -1. Okay,
So you graph that point.
I go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I go down -1,
Yes.
and I put a dot, right? Okay, now what do I do?
You rise 1
So from this point, I'm going to rise 1
and go over 2.
and go over 2. Rise 1, go over 2, put a dot, and I just draw my line. Ooh, what a straight line. That was a nice one. Okay. All right, that's awesome. Okay, let's try another one. All right, let's see. Y plus 6 is equal to -1/3 times x minus 4. Okay, Dan.
So it'd be 4,
So 4,
comma, -6.
-6.
It would go over 4.
So over 4,
And then down 6.
down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 6. Does that look right?
Yeah. And then you would go down 1.
And I'm going to go down 1 because it's negative, right? I'm going to go down 1
And then go over 3.
and go 1, 2, 3, and put a dot and draw my line, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. Okay. Let me think for a second. I have till when? Till I have 15 more minutes.
Time started.
You have,
Let me just look at the homework.
10 more minutes.
There, you're a liar.
do one more and then we're done. Oh, no.
Wait, Eddie,
One more and then
we
we
have
give
the
us the
homework
homework.
now.
You guys will be done with it in no time.
No.
Yeah, early grade.
So on the homework, let me just tell you what's on the homework. I have actually, like that first thing I showed you, that is on the homework. Where I said, write an equation in point slope form of the line that has the given slope and the given point. Right? And so I give you, slope equals 2 and point equals 6, -3. And I'm asking you to write an equation. So that's the first part of the homework. So what's the equation? So Rico, go for it. What's the equation?
It's y minus plus 3.
Do you see why it's plus? Because the equation says y minus, and then it's a -3. Y minus a minus, right? That becomes plus. Minus minus means plus. Okay. So what did I say? Plus 3.
Y plus 3.
Wait, Rico.
Equals those. And then x minus 8.
That's a 6, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Looks like an 8 over here.
Sorry. You might have to sit closer, dude,
I can
so you
see a
can see.
6.
All right.
He's too
It is a little iffy. Okay. So right, straightforward, right? Pretty easy.
Yes.
The second question is, from the given equation, please write the slope and the point. And you guys know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then the third thing is actually graphing, okay? And I think I'm going to just go ahead and let you guys work on it.
Yeah!